grade, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what is a government? Why is it necessary? How does the government serve the people of a country? And also, why are laws important when it comes to government? Well, as we get ready to kind of think about these questions and look into it, let's talk about our I can statement today. So today, I can explain why governments are created and why governments are necessary. So let's kind of take a look right here. We're going to be thinking about how our country works. So, one way that our country works is that we have laws in place. So, what are laws? Well, remember, laws are rules that are created by people in the government for a community. So, what are some different laws that a government has possibly made? Well, some of these different things would be like a law would be like stop at a stop sign, or something within our own class. Hey, raise your hand and wait to be called on. Don't just blurt out our answers. Let's take a look at another one. So we have please don't litter. So if you throw trash on the ground, make sure you pick it up. We have specific crosswalks. So places for people to be able to cross the street safely. We have law enforcement to make sure that people aren't robbing or stealing or doing things that are unkind or hurtful to people in a community. So, why we need a government? So, right here we have a student, her name is Casat, and she's learning about the Capitol building, which is in Washington, D.C. So, we just talked about how governments have laws and laws have a purpose. So, here in Washington, D.C., at the Capitol, this is where we have laws that are passed and voted on, and government makes decisions based upon what laws are necessary and needed. So, as we get ready to kind of take a look at this, we're going to look at what is a government over in EPIC. So, right here, I'm going to go ahead and make this a little smaller so it's able to fit on our screen a little better. Okay, so what is a government? So governments. So a government is people who help us every single day. These are people who work very hard as part of a team. You might see a government at work in your own community or the area where you live. We need many government teams in our community and country. These teams work together. So a government runs a school, city, a state, or a country. It makes decisions based upon, it makes decisions because it's constantly changing. A government helps to keep us safe because it helps to decide what we need most in our lives. People in government also tend to listen to us. We share our ideas that we want on various important jobs that they're working on. So in the United States, there's almost 90,000 different governments. We're going to find out about some of the different governments that are in different neighborhoods, towns, cities, and states across our country. So we have a president of the United States who helps to lead the country. The governor helps to lead a state, and your community usually has government leaders too, like a mayor who leads the city, or a police chief, or a sheriff, or a fire chief, or other known leaders who help to make our community a better place. So why we need them? So we need government to make laws. Laws are rules that help to keep us safe and help us to work together. A government also makes sure that we have to follow these laws. Even easy things cannot be done without these laws. For example, would you want to cross the street if people drove their cars too fast? Well, probably not. So a government tells us what's important in our community, and we listen to what they suggest. And if people agree on the idea, then these leaders help to get the job done. So a mayor might say to the town, hey, we need a new fire truck. If the people agree and vote upon it, then the town might buy a new fire truck. Government helps to protect and to run our school. They also hire the people that watch over all the schools in the district. They make decisions about what books to use. The government pays for teachers and the buildings as well. And that's paid for from your local community. So, our neighborhood. So, our government wants us all to be safe. It builds police stations, fire stations. It also builds hospitals and clinics. The government helps after a disaster. It helps to take care of the old and the sick. Government has a plan for what you will learn about in school. So children in the same grade should learn the same things every time. So we use this to help to plan our class, but it also helps us to think about how we want to use our time inside and outside every single day. So the government helps to build our roads, streets, and sidewalks. It puts up street signs and stoplights. You ride a city bus or a subway, you can thank the government. If you go to a park and play, or if drinking clean water, that's all thanks to the government. So, basketball star Shaquille O'Neal works for the government. He works with the police in Miami, Florida, and in Tempe, Arizona. So our country must protect its people. Our government has an army, a navy, and an air force to do this. Together, these groups form what's known as the military. Men and women in the military help to protect us. They also work with other countries to help protect people who live there too. So if a person cannot find a job, he or she might be able to get some money from the government to help this person as they continue to look for work. Some communities might need more homes, so the government may help to build them. People who do not have places to live can stay there. So our government has many laws. If anyone breaks the law, they may have to go to court. The person in charge of the court is called a judge. Everyone has a say, and then the judge will decide who is right or who is wrong. The person who is wrong may be punished for what he or she might have done. So remember that our government has 3 branches. We have the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. So we just visited Washington, D.C., and we saw Congress. Congress is made up of the House of Representatives and the Senate. This is at our national level and at our state level. We also have our executive branch. That's like the president and the vice president. Remember, at the state level, this is going to be your governor. And then over at the judicial branch, our top court in the land is the Supreme Court. But also at the state level, we have our state Supreme Court as well. So the legislative branch makes all the laws. The executive branch makes sure the people obey the laws. And the court makes up the judicial branch. So a court could decide if a law has been followed correctly. Every government has all 3 branches in the United States. The mayor leads the executive branch on the city branch, and many people may work in the legislative branch. The legislative branch suggests new laws for the city or town. A city's judicial branch makes decisions about local laws. The state has 3 branches of government. The 3 branches manage the government of the state, and our country has 3 of them too. These branches take care of the laws within our country. But we also have something called checks and balances, because a government needs checks and balances. This means that no government has too much power, or no branch of the government has too much power. Each branch can do its job, but it can't do the jobs of the others. So long ago, many countries were ruled by kings. A king had all the power in the country. He decided what people needed, and sometimes his choices were wrong. Checks and balances divide the power. One branch can keep another branch from making a bad decision. So how do checks and balances work? Well, imagine that your town wants to pass a new law. The law would say that no one can cut down a tree. The legislative branch can ask for the laws, and if the mayor thinks that the law is a bad idea, he or she could say no to the law. And then a judge could make sure that the law is right and fair. So we have different leaders who help with making decisions. So every government has a leader. So a city has a mayor, each state has a governor, and a president leads the country. They're the most well-known people in the government. The mayor, governor, and president lead the executive branch in their government. They make sure that things get done. They tell people what to do and what the laws say. The leaders listen to advice from the legislative branch of the government. They can also ask for new laws. So many governors and the president become leaders by winning something called an election. An election is where people vote for the leader that they want. Each city and state decides how long someone can be a leader. The president leads the country for 4 years before the next election. So making the rules. So every government has a legislative branch. This branch makes new laws. If the leader of the executive branch agrees with the idea, then they become a new law. Ideas for new laws can come from all people. People in the legislative branch talk about the laws. They talk to experts about what they think. And if enough people want to talk about the new law, then the government may have special meetings with them. People can then explain why they like it or why they don't like it. So our national government is in Washington, D.C. The legislative branch there of the United States has Congress, and Congress has 100 senators. There are 2 senators from each of the 50 states. The House of Representatives has over 400 members. There are at least 1 member from each state. Together, both of these form what's known as Congress. All these men and women make up the new laws for our country. So law and order. Our country has many courts, and each one has a judge. People who break the law go to court. The truth will be explained in court, and then the judge decides what should happen. The court will also help if people do not agree about a law. The judge helps to decide who is right and how the law should work. A judge decides what is fair. So, you may have a court in your community. It serves the people in your town. Each state has its own court, and the government uses federal courts for problems and important to the country. Each state has at least 1 federal court. So our Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, and it has one of the most important jobs. So only the most important cases can go to the Supreme Court. So let's go ahead and review, okay, why are governments created and why are governments necessary? Remember, governments are created to help make laws to keep people safe. A government is necessary to help keep people and communities safe. All right, so 3rd grade, let's go ahead and shift on over to Buzz, and we are going to take a look at our assignment today over there. So you'll see that, hey, we are going into lesson 701 this morning, and we are taking a look at the grandeur of government. So why do we have governments? What are they doing? So we're going into Module 7. So here we go. So you're going to go to the Module 7 folder, click on that caret. We're going to go down. You'll see, oh, we have a quiz today with this assignment. So when we go over and we take a look, it says, hey, we're going to read the lesson. We're going to create and complete the activities in the lesson. So as you're going through, you're going to have some different reading that you're doing as part of the topic. What is the purpose? All right. And when you get to the end, you'll have a quiz over this. So good luck, 3rd grade. You got this.